you guys voted for back in October, and I had to refilm it and all that stuff. But now I am finally getting to read the book that you guys voted on in the YouTube comments and on Instagram, which was War of the Flowers by Tad Williams. This is a book sort of about two worlds. It takes place in both the real world and the fairy world, which is kind of like our world, but more fairy-ish. Haha, I'm explaining this so well. So this centers around the main character, Theo, and he is a rock musician. His life has kind of been going down the drain, sort of supernaturally so, and he's kind of bummed about it. And then he finds this very interesting book that his uncle wrote that is all about the fairy world. And so in the scene that I'm going to read today, he has been sort of sitting and moping in the dark and, reading this book and being wowed by it. And then all of a sudden, he ends up meeting an actual fairy. And I think that explains basically what's going on in here. So let's jump into the fabulous scene. He stared at the gleam on the bottom shelf as it wriggled and pulsed, then died. Then, in the moment before the shining spot faded and the room dropped into darkness, he saw something that finally made him lurch out of his seat. By the time he reached the light switch, he had decided it had to have been a remnant of a dream. Oh man, what have we learned here? Maybe that depressed people shouldn't drink. But when the light came on, the woman was still sitting on the shelf. She was still about half a foot tall. She had wings. Theo moaned. What now? The tiny woman stared at him frowning. She was terrifyingly solid, not a blur, not a shadow. She had short carrot-colored hair, a bad color to go with a deep red mini dress, a heretofore unsuspected part of his own mind noted, and a heart-shaped face that was somehow a little too wide across the eyes and cheeks. She looked like the type who would have freckles, but if she did, they were far too small to see. She didn't look happy, although he didn't know why she should be. He wasn't all that happy himself. This is a dream, isn't it? He asked hopefully. She bent to rub her knees, then straightened up. He could not get over how small she was. It was sort of like looking at a cute girl at the end of the block, except this one was in perfect focus and only a yard and a half away. Well, if it's a dream, then I'm dreaming too, and I'm gonna put in a request for a better one next time, because this one is desperate. Now, are you just gonna sit there staring, or are you gonna offer me a thimble of tea or something? I ache all bloody over from getting here. You're a fairy. That's one to you, and you're immortal, so that's sorted. Now, I'm tired, and I'm hurting, and I'm afraid I'm in a bit of a mood, so how about that tea? If this was a dream, what did it mean? It's one thing to fantasize about women, but women half a foot high? What does that say about your sense of self-esteem, Vilmos? Look, she said, and suddenly he could see that imaginary or not, she was definitely exhausted. That tea? I'm not shy. I get it myself, but I'm too short to turn the knobs on your whatchamacallit here. Your stove. Sorry. He walked towards the countertop, turned on the burner, and put the kettle on it. She still didn't disappear. When the ring began to heat up, she even extended her hands toward it, warming them. So you really are a fairy. I'm not imagining it. I am. You're not. Why do you talk like you're Irish? She rolled her eyes and blew a minute strand of hair off her face. That you are. We don't talk like the Irish. The Irish talk like us, more or less. Get it? Oh. The unreality of the situation began to seem a little less glaring, but no more explicable. The water boiled. The fairy fluttered her wings and lifted herself back half a foot to get out of the way of the steam. He fumbled 2 tea bags and 2 cups out of the cupboard. By the trays, fella. I'm not going to drink that much. Just pour me a bit of yours. Oh, right. He put 1 cup and 1 tea bag away, then set the tea to steeping. He didn't have a thimble, so he retrieved one of the Heineken caps from the pile on the bookshelf. Is this okay? She sprang up and hovered beside him, wings beating swift as a hummingbird's. She sniffed the cap.
If you washed out, I've nothing to get spare, but I don't want it in my tea. Thank you very much.
He sat down with his mug, lost in a roaring internal silence of utter dumbfoundment. The fairy kneeled on the counter, blowing on her cap full of tea to cool it. I'm sorry if I haven't been a very polite host.
Don't worry,
She said between sips.
they often get taken that way, your kind. It's the glamour I expect.
Are you? Do you? What's your name? She gave him a look that was not entirely friendly.
What's yours?
You don't know?
Of course I bloody well know, you great idiot. But you had to tell me first, then I can tell you.
Oh, he realized he'd been saying that a lot. I'm Theo Vilmos.
Fair play to you. My name is Applecore.
Applecore?
Don't start.
But I just...
Don't start, fella, or you'll be wearing the rest of this tea.
He stared at her, alarmed, but also amused at the thought of being attacked by an angry fairy. Then again, maybe it wasn't funny. Maybe she could turn him into something unpleasant. A toad, or a pea under a mattress. At the very least, wouldn't she sour the milk or something? Of course the milk in my refrigerator's probably sour already. I didn't mean to offend you, he said out loud. I was only surprised because, well, I don't know anyone with a name like that. She gave him a stern look, then softened somewhat.
It's not my fault. I was the last born.
What do you mean?
We're a big family. The Apples got 27 brothers and sisters. We have Seed, Skin, Poi, Pip, Dull, Tarch, Tray, Wood, Bark, Blossom, even Butcher, just to name a few. All the good names were taken by the time I came along. The Mistake, Ma and Da used to call me. But it wasn't good fun. But there was bugger all choice left for names.
Ah, it wasn't very clever, but it was better than a little. So what brings you here? Not that you're not welcome, but we don't get many fairies around here.
With these prices, I'm not surprised.
She showed him a weary smile, the first from her he'd seen.
Sorry, I'll joke that.
She tilted her little head to look at him carefully.
You really don't know.
Is it something to do with my great uncle's book?
Not that I've heard. The old fella who sent me didn't tell me much. Apparently he's not the only one interested. But someone's keeping an eye on you.
Someone? Someone like who?
I don't know. But the old fella, he's worried about it, so he sent me to fetch you. Don't ask me, ask him.
Old fella. She put down her tea and cocked her head as though listening for something. You said old fella. What old fella?
Tansy his name is. He's sort of a doctor fella from one of the important families.
But who is he? Where is he? Applecore shook her head slowly, distracted. Suddenly he thought he knew what she was noticing. A sharp stench, sourly rotten. God, what is that? A skunk?
Something's outside.
That was my excerpt reading of War of the Flowers. I hope you guys will check out this book if you have not read it before. I have linked the book in the description if you do want to check it out, and definitely do because I abridged quite a bit for dramatization. That is it for today, my fabulous peeps. I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Bye!
That's her new thing now. I'm gonna go up there when we go.
Get up here, Dan. Get up here.
When mommy does this TV thing.
Come on. Don't just stare at me. I can't act when you're staring at me, baby. Come on. She can't figure out how to get up. Hi, T. You'll be in the outtake. So bad. So horrible.
Don't start, fella, or you'll be rare. Don't talk like. We don't.
He fumbled two beanbags. I almost said beanbags instead of beanbags. I've never said bloody well in this accent. It's very weird.
One of the doctor. No, I said weird words. That's not what it is. Okay.
I wish he would not say the words twice.
But boys do it though.
I know. I want to call her the cherry instead of the berry.
Seed, skin, pie, pulp.
apple pulp. Pulp is not one of them, but that's worse than cork. Tongue-tied. And fancy free.
It keeps slipping into some weird thing. A sharp stench, sourly rotten.
Well, we know now that Tad loves some alliteration.